said hi yet.
Hello.
Don't make me stick my hand up like a ventriloquist and move your head and make you say hi.
Certainly don't want you touching me.
Jerry Lewis and you lamb chops. I think that would be pretty funny.
Boy.
Oh, gosh.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you, even if I have to sit in the same room as this guy beside me.
Ah,
At least I get to look at Angelica. I don't have to look at Bill.
you know, some people pay to sit next to me. You know that, don't you? Yeah.
They must have lost their
They
minds.
do,
Huh?
yeah. And they pay a lot too. I tell you, they pay a lot to sit next to me.
Sure.
Okay, people are gonna call in and say, people are gonna call in today and say, I'd pay to sit next to Bill.
No, I
Watch.
bet you they will call in and say that they would pay to sit next to Walter or I. You just wait.
Well, I
But
would,
even
I
in
would, I would
training-
pay them to sit next to Walter so that Walter wouldn't be sitting alone. That's what I would do. So,
Oh,
Wow.
well, we'll just see how it goes. Let's see what happens out there in the Twitter sphere.
well, yeah, we will see that. But I mean, okay, because let me tell you about this America's Got No Talent
Yes,
thing.
yes,
Let me tell you about
please.
this. Am I the only one that watches America's Got Talent?
Yes.
Am I the only one that
Well, I'm
watches?
sure there are other people in the nation that watch it, but in this room,
Well, let
yes.
me tell you, I am over America's Got Talent. No more kaput. I tell you, I am so bummed. I mean, I'm not even bummed. I'm fatoutsed. I was so flummoxed by the outcome last night. I'm so mad. And I'm sure our fans are angry out there too about the outcome of America's Got Talent last night. It was Brian Justin Crum came in fourth. Are you kidding me?
Wow, that's outrageous.
It is outrageous. And then John Derenbros was out as well. John Derenbros didn't make it into the top two. Get out of here. So America voted for this 14-year-old girl who squeaks a song out on a ukulele. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now, you know.
I take it that's not who you voted for?
No, I mean, she's got talent. Don't get me wrong. She does.
Okay, so enough of that. That's just the intro. I'm going to encourage you all to listen to this amazing podcast. It is a little bit older. You can see right here, September 2016, but all of the principles are still in place. And I listened to it when he was live, Bill Van Patten, Dr. Bill Van Patten. And now I just listen for fun because I'm a nerd. So anyway, welcome. I wanted you to kind of get a taste of like how actually engaging this topic can be. It can be really engaging. So it can sound really dry. Maybe when you got the email, you were like, what is this? So anyway, well, welcome. I'm so glad you all are here. It's so lovely to see your faces and your names on the screen. And just before, just to make it really clear, I am recording. I think Zoom probably gave you that warning. But yeah, we'll share this out with people after. But first, can everybody either write in the chat or unmute and share how you're doing this morning? How are you feeling? How's life? Just maybe one good thing you're excited about today or this month. Yay, Christina, me too. I'm excited for sunshine and warm weather. I know the snow's starting to melt. It's great. Oh, Malud says today's the 22nd day of Ramadan. How are you feeling, Malud? That's a lot of fasting.
Yeah, but that's a really exciting. It's great, and so it's a religious thing, and people are really happy doing that. My kids, I have one who's 13, and he has done 22 days, and my little son is 10, and he has done 12 days, and they feel proud of that.
That's something to be proud of.
So I don't know if you know what's that. What is Ramadan? Do you have an idea what is it?
A little bit. I would love for you to share with all of us.
Okay, this is a month. It's like more spiritual and religious, where people fast, stop eating and drinking and having sex from the sunrise to the sunsets. It's around 14, 15 hours a day here in Morocco. And so it's like more about being thirsty, tired, and hungry, which makes you feel about the people who cannot find what to eat and people who live in like poverty or in disastrous places. So it
Yeah.
makes you feel about them and think about them, and this like it triggers the need to help them. It's something like this. So it's more about spirituality and
It's really, I think it's a really beautiful way to reconnect with yourself from what I know of it. It just sounds like it's really like a powerful, it's a powerful time of year. It would seem to me. Yeah. And that's so cool that your son is doing it and he's like made it so far. Like that's a big accomplishment.
yes, it's like competition between the students at school, between children. I made 10 days. I have passed for 5 days. And
That's
so on.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Wow. I love that. That's amazing.
Thanks.
And then Valeria, you said you're excited about the weather. It's not so hot anymore. That's exciting.
It's the opposite. Right. Here, well, summer, it seems like it takes longer than 3, 4 months. It's like since it's from more or less September, it gets really hot. And now, well, summer is over, so it's getting much, much better, colder. In summer, it can get so hot. It's almost like 100 grades
Oh my God.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And every day it's like you can't even breathe. So this feels really nice, you know, being able to take a walk and not get exhausted. So it's really nice.
Whew, that is tiring. Gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes,
I'm glad it's getting better for you guys. That's good.
thank you.
We are still, Thursday, it snowed in Montana all day, pretty much. And I went skiing in Big Sky yesterday and it was snowing all day there. And my hands got really cold. So we're definitely in a different part of the world.
Yeah.
Yep. That's obvious. Awesome. Well, Mariana, if you feel like sharing, you can, but no pressure. I know that life is busy for all of us, so do what you can. Okay, so I'm gonna really encourage you.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
I
you're
can.
here.
Hi, I'm here. It's Mariana. I was skiing at Big Sky yesterday too, and I had to stop because my nose was so cold with all the snow blowing in my face.
It was so cold. Yeah.
Yeah, it was surprisingly. I think I hadn't prepared for like midwinter cold, so I was under layered.
Yep, me too.
But anyways, yeah, so I'm new to teaching a language. I'm going to be doing a summer camp in Spanish for the first time this summer. So I'm just eager to listen and soak up all the good knowledge that I can.
Awesome. We are so lucky to have you. Mariana is a professor at MSU. Am I saying that right? And I forget what you.
Yes. Yeah, I teach economics.
Economics. Awesome. Cool. And
Yeah,
Valeria.
but I love languages and love culture. So I'm excited to share that with the kids.
That's awesome. Mariana has, I've taught her daughter in Spanish camp. She knows so much because of Mariana. Mariana is committed to speaking Spanish at home. Valeria, let me just tell you a little bit about her. She is living in Argentina and she teaches for us. She teaches Spanish classes online with us. And Christina teaches German in person here in Bozeman with students after school. And Malou teaches like in a bunch of different places for us with Arabic club at the high school, right? And you also do online classes and Malou teaches Arabic and is everybody here is a force to be reckoned with. And we are really lucky to have all of you on our team. So yeah, Malou lives in Morocco. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
Christina's in Bozeman. So yeah. Cool. Okay. I probably should have let you all introduce yourselves, but I just sped it along. So basically, I just shared in the chat the presentation I'm going to be working off of. So if you want to check out any of the links that are included there, it's all there. I'll be tweaking and adding some things. I had a really crazy week at work. I had best laid plans were to prepare this presentation last week, during the week, and my school dealt with a sewage issue in my building. So I was like kicked out of my classroom, and it just it was fine. But it was like, oh, okay. Like my time was sucked up by other things. So I didn't get to all the pieces of it, but I will be adding things as we go or later. So check back. But yeah, I'm sharing it on the screen right now. My computer doesn't love it when I try to do too much at once. So we'll be patient. Inala. Inala. Exhala. That's more for me than you, but because I get frustrated, I'm like, come on. Okay. So communicative language teaching is mostly what we're going to be diving into today. That is our overarching topic for today. And then there's some subcategories underneath it. We're going to learn about, what it is and how we use it in our classes, why we use it, that a little bit more of the why behind its importance and its value. I am, like I said, a total geek about this. I read books on it, listen to podcasts, anything I can. I just think it's really fascinating. So our icebreaker for today, let's do a quick icebreaker. Feel free to write the answers to these questions in the chat, or feel free to ignore one of the questions if you don't want to answer it. But for me, someone that I truly respect, who in my case is famous, was just on that podcast I was playing as you all came in, or some of you came in. And his name is Dr. Bill Van Patten. I'm going to be talking about him a lot. I respect him a lot because he is, he's really engaging to listen to. His writing, I love reading his books. He has made it really everything, a lot of the principles become very clear to me. And his podcast is very entertaining too. So it's not only deeply steeped in the principles of communicative language teaching, but it's also just fun to listen to. I have never met him. I would be honored to meet him. I have met Dr. Stephen Krashen a few times, who he references in his podcast, who's another heavy hitter in the world of communicative language teaching. And, but I haven't met Dr. Bill Van Patten. And, yeah, if I were to meet him, I would like for it to happen, in an ideal situation. It would be like us on the beach, talking about language, and me asking him a million questions, basically. Yeah, I would ask him all about I would ask him maybe to come to my classes and help me be better at teaching. I would ask him to give me feedback. I would ask him about how he came up with his research methods. It's I have so many questions. He's really neat. So yeah, that's my tidbit. That's someone I respect. Does anybody else have somebody they really respect and they would like to connect with? It doesn't have to be a language person.
Yeah, you reminded me of a woman that I follow on LinkedIn, that I found out that she really motivates me on a daily basis, because I read all her posts. Her name is Mel Robbins. And if I were to meet her, I would love to have coaching session, because I found that motivation is key to, push yourself and do better. Sometimes we are too scared to try new things. And I think I would like to be surrounded by these kind of people. So
Yeah.
that's why, yeah, I respect her a lot.
And say her name again?
Mel Robbins.
Awesome.
Her name.
That's cool. Nice. I'll have to check her out.
Okay.
I just wrote her name down, so.
Good.
Does anybody else have somebody that that inspires them deeply?
This is like an ordinary person, but I love him so much. And his name is Steve Kirchhoff. I believe you know him. Steve Kirchhoff, Kirchhoff.
Is
He
he?
is
He's
the
in
former
Bozeman, right?
mayor of Bozeman.
Yeah.
Yes, this person he always have a smile on his face, and whenever you meet with him, it seems like life is easy and no problems, and this is like it's very good. So I had some difficult times when I was in Bozeman, on the term of communication and this term. But so when I met with him and he received me in his house for 2 weeks, and he helped me a lot, and he was like very kind to me and smiling. So I still remember his smile, and I would love to meet him again and give him a hug. He's a nice person.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, if I see him, I'm gonna tell him you said that. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, he's good. He's a great person.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I'm having a hard time coming up with somebody also that's not, sort of closer to me. But the person who popped in my mind is my grandfather. He's not famous, and I have met him. And he's passed, unfortunately, but he always really inspired me because he was quite driven. He was German, so kind of practical and efficient, but he was also had sort of this philosopher streak and was passionate about art. And he sort of exemplified somebody who, he read a lot. He only read biographies so he could learn about other people. And he was just a really interesting person, would tell great stories. I probably only understood half of them. I mean, I think really the storytelling was more about us connecting and him like conveying a meaning or a feeling, because I didn't, I got bits and pieces of these stories. So if I could talk to him again, I would have him repeat a lot of the stories that he told me. So that I could have that, I could have them as memories, so that I could have gotten to the deeper meaning, because he was clearly trying to communicate things that he felt were important for his grandchild to know.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Mariana, do you have anybody that you respect that is the question was originally, I don't like this word, but so I changed, who is your idol? Just because, yeah, I think people are just people. They don't usually the best people don't want to be put on that high of a pedestal, so yeah. But if it helps you think of somebody, I'll use the word idol. We can also come back to this if you think of somebody later, feel free to just pop it in the chat. Oh, we got it, something in the chat. Okay. You can't think of anybody. No worries. I'm sure there's lots of people. I could have named like 10 other people. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So our presentation outline is as such. I sent you kind of like a rough outline in our email. What is communicative language teaching? What does the research say and why do we use it? Or why do we try to align with it? I should probably have written. And why do we stay in the target language and some strategies to make that happen? And hopefully you're going to share if you have, so start thinking of those if you haven't already. And then getting students to speak more in the target language. Again, I'm going to give you an opportunity to share. Because I think we all learn better together when we all are sharing our successes and reminding ourselves that we can do this. So, and as we're going, I highly recommend keeping a notebook going. Like I have my notebook right here. I'm going to be taking notes. So if you see me jotting things down, it's because I'm going to come back to it, or it's something I'm going to highlight later, or it's a takeaway I really want to hold on to for myself or to help you guys with. And at the end, I'm really hoping we can have develop accountability buddies that will help us stay in line with our goals here. Because that I find when I have an accountability buddy, I know that I am going to be held to a higher standard. And it really helps me. Hopefully it helps you. And hopefully this is something you want to do. But I think as language teachers, most of us teach kind of on our own right now. And it can be kind of lonely. So my hope is that we can connect with each other. So yeah, so be thinking of, you know, your takeaways, your goals, and maybe if you want an accountability buddy. Okay, so you can either unmute right now or write in the chat, what do you know about communicative language teaching? Or what do you hope to learn today? So you can add something in the chat, you can unmute, you can, yeah, share with us later in an email if that helps. But there's something you already know or something you would like to learn. Because it's a giant topic. It's crazy. When I was making this slideshow, I was like, whew, it's a big topic.
So I know that it's an approach to language teaching with a focus on interaction, communication.
Yep.
So I think it focuses more on the use of the language rather than its grammar or structures.
Yep. You nailed it. Wow. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, easy methods to get started with beginners. Yeah, yeah, it's not a method. It is an approach. We're going to get more into that, but it's a way to, interact with in an easy fashion. I find it to be easy for the teacher and the student. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Does anybody have anything they would like to learn or more you'd like to share that you already know? Oh, Malude's back. Good. Oh, that's what you hope to learn. Awesome. Yeah, we will dive into that for sure. There's a whole ocean of stuff. That's good. Thanks for clarifying, Mariana. All right, I'm putting on my handy timer so I can remember to do a little bit of movement and brain break. You guys know that I like this. Some of you do. Awesome. Well, I'm going to keep moving on. So essentially, you all need to know this. This is important. Full disclosure, I know these concepts. I get them. I understand them on a certain level, but putting them into action is really difficult. And this is literally like, as I was pulling together this slideshow, I was just, again, blown away by the vastness of this topic. So it's my goal today is to kind of give you little bits to take away and to kind of ground you in the principles of communicative language teaching so that, you know, you can hold yourself to a higher standard like I'm always trying to do. But again, I don't always hit the mark. I'm not perfect. You could come to my classes and say, oh, is that communicative? And no, some things are just fun. Like sometimes I say things in English because I want to move quickly through something, right? Like, so I don't always do the things that I say. So I wanted you guys to remember, oh, this should say we can do this, not sigh. So we can do this. We can do this together. It's tricky. It's a giant topic. And it's the more I learn about it, the more I realize like it's, yeah, there's a lot to know. So this could literally be like a graduate level course. And even that in a semester, you wouldn't tackle everything that's attached to it. So let's all breathe. Inhala. So you're not alone in this. It's a big topic. We're not here to make anybody feel bad. We're just hoping to hold all of our collective selves to a higher standard. So, basically, Valeria started us off on a great foot. Communicative language teaching, or CLT, is in its simplest form, it's student-centered. Is students create with the language. Where's my cursor? There we are. Students create with the language. And it focuses on communicating messages. It doesn't focus on grammatical points. It doesn't focus on accent marks or certain vocabulary lists. It is not a curriculum. It is not a method. It is not a set of strategies even. It is basically an approach to, like Valeria said, it is an approach to teaching a world language that is designed with what we know about how the brain acquires a language in mind. So if you want to read more about communicative language teaching, there's a ton of stuff out there. There are tons of things. I could have, again, overwhelmed us all, but I found the ones that were most easy to digest because, we're all busy, we're all working. So my favorite go-to thing is our podcasts. I really like listening to podcasts or reading an article. I'll print it out. So I already sent you this, a more teacher-centered description of communicative language from Elizabeth Alvarado of Spanish Mama. She's great. Her description is spot on. I really liked it. It got to the main points. Joshua Cabral, I forget the name of his company. It's like World Language Proficiency Podcast or something. His podcast is really good at breaking it down for teachers. And then the expert, my hero, one of my heroes, one of my people that I respect most is Dr. Bill Van Patten. I love listening to his podcast. I linked his podcast here. So anything that is underlined in this slideshow is a resource you can click on to get more information if you're curious. But I love listening to Dr. Bill Van Patten. He used to run this, as you heard, maybe at the beginning, he ran this call-in talk show about language acquisition, and it was so engaging and I loved it. I called in. There's a few episodes where I'm on there. I won some prizes. It was great. It was fun. So he's a huge inspiration to me. So if you ever have any questions, he's probably covered the topic and you could listen to his podcast. And he's written many books too. What do researchers say about it? CLT is a powerful approach to language acquisition. Like I said before, it acknowledges how our subconscious brain takes in the messages and does its own beautifully unique process so that teaching the language, like through grammar, memorization, vocab, focus, thematic unit focus, those things are all unnecessary because your brain just has its own process through listening and hearing messages. It's driven by communication and the target language. So as I said before, communicative language teaching is really more about getting students to meeting them where they are and taking what they can do and encouraging them to step a little further, right? In really safe ways. It should be, it relies on student listening, reading, and doing things. So the doing part is more, Bill Van Patten talks about tasks a lot. So a task would be like, let's say you in the first week of your class, whether it's summer camp or with adults, you've learned that one or a few of your students are going to Costa Rica, or they're going to Russia, or they're going to go visit, somewhere in Saudi Arabia. And they really want to be able to order food off of the menu, or they really want to be able to navigate the city, using transportation, let's say. So a communicative task to get to those students would be like, you bring up the bus schedule that they might be using, or something like a menu, right? And you don't practice ordering, you give them the sentence starters and the support to be able to start communicating so they can order the food they want. So the task would be ordering the food, but you're giving them the scaffolding to get there. And then the rest comes from them, right? And so sometimes for them, like at the novice level, they'll throw in some, in our case, English, and that's okay. And some of them are going to make everybody's going to make lots of mistakes. We want to normalize that and make them not feel ashamed about it. So that's research. The research has really stated that this is my biggest point for you today, is that this is really powerful. And the whole world is moving away from grammar instruction, verb conjugations. Everybody's moving away from that because we now know that actually slows down the natural work your brain does when it's acquiring a language. The other approach focuses on learning about the language. Those are two very different things. And communicative language teaching distinguishes that for us. Shows us how vital it is to get the students listening, hearing, and then scaffolding ways for them to perform tasks. All right, let me go back. Does anybody have any questions about either of these two slides? Always feel free to pop them in the chat or stop me, because I don't want to say anything that's too heady. Because this should really be an approach. I learned on Bill Van Patten's podcast, an approach means that it's not a method. So method would be the overarching umbrella. Underneath the umbrella would be approach, design, and procedure. Approach means like guiding principles. That's what CLT is. It's a set of guiding principles. Design would be like, what are your goals, right? Your goals should be student-centered in our case. And number 3, procedure would be like, how do you go about that on a daily basis, on an hourly basis? So does anybody have any questions about anything? Again, feel free to stop me. Okay, so now that we kind of know, some of you know more, some of you know less, that's normal about CLT, but why do we align with this? So CLT is an approach, not a method that sorry, I gotta move myself out of the picture. There we go. That encourages us to get our students to use the language in meaningful ways. They call it tasks. CLT helps us to understand that they will make lots of mistakes, and that's okay. Again, we need to normalize it, make them feel safe to make those mistakes. CLT reminds us to speak the language often and to provide compelling tasks for them to perform. So if they're not hearing it often in your classes, that's problematic. Then we're learning about the language. We're learning about the culture. We're not learning the language. They're not acquiring it. So, so we need to be speaking the language as much as possible, as much as feasibly possible, to get them to scaffold it so that they can perform tasks. And CLT, okay, so let me just finish this slide and then I think a brain break is next. Nope, just kidding. Okay, so CLT supports us in aligning our class goals with what the students want and are interested. So we know that this approach works really well. All of the research that's been around for more than 40 years now, it's probably close to 50 now, supports this and there's no one that has disproven that this is the way we should be teaching. So this is why we align with it at World Language Initiative. It is a really innovative, it allows for us to be innovative, creative, fun, and engaging. So that's why we align with it at World Language Initiative. And so we're hoping to get everybody fully on board with that and making sure that, again, with our accountability buddies later, that we're holding ourselves accountable. Okay, everybody stand up. Levantate if you're not already. Everybody stand up. Stretch to the right. Stretch to the left. Stretch back. Stretch forward. If you need to go back to any of those positions, you can do a little move, just move around, move those hips a little bit, get your body moving. Every time we get our bodies moving and interacting, it resets our brain so that we can take in the material. So we're not falling asleep and thinking about our grocery list, getting distracted. So yeah, keep it moving. Feel free to move as needed. No judgments here. Okay, again, stop me at any time if you have any questions. So what is one thing that may be new, maybe not, that you've learned about communicative language teaching? You can write it in the chat or unmute and share. All right, we got something in the chat from Christina. Thank you. It's
I want
it's student-centered and task-oriented. Exactly. That's 100% true. Go ahead,
I
Buzz.
was going to say that what you said, this distinction between learning about the language or learning, I would say, to use the language is quite different. I mean, it is related, and it's not easy to stay in communicative language teaching the whole class, right? Because students are also interested in learning about the culture and everything. But it's really useful to keep this in mind so that we go back to using the language as much as possible, and in this way help them to acquire the language.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and I would argue, Valeria, you can teach about culture in the target language. Yeah, it's possible. We can talk more about that later. So I'm gonna make
Yes,
a note, because
sure.
I think teaching about culture is really important. And it's really, yeah, it's really valuable. I love learning
Yeah,
about it.
but I was thinking that, well, now I have a beginners class, so it's really difficult to explain many things in Spanish like the whole time. So I use English to explain some things, but I know it would be much better if I could say all this in Spanish. Quite
Great.
difficult with the beginners class.
Yeah, and it's taken me a long time to be able to, like, this fall, we had a day off for Yom Kippur, and we have some students in our school that are Jewish, and I wanted to be able to teach the rest of the school that I taught, you know, in my classes, what Yom Kippur is. And so Yom Kippur really may, or, you know, depending on how you look at it, could or could not have anything to do with Spanish. But there are Spanish Jews, right? Like there are Jewish people who speak Spanish, and vice versa, right? And people in Spain who are Jewish, right? Like however you want to look at it, people in Argentina that are Jewish, right? So I did a whole thing on Yom Kippur, and I was able to convey, using visuals, using the target language, like what Yom Kippur was. And it really, and it went well. I was proud of that. I could show you that lesson if you want, but I think it is difficult, but it's totally possible. And it's like, yeah, I think we can all like hold ourselves to a higher standard and get there for sure. Okay. And did I use English there sometimes? Yeah, I definitely did. And I don't feel bad about it, you know, because I would say 90% of that class was in Spanish. So I felt pretty good about that. Because I had visuals to support whatever I was saying. So that helps. Okay, so Mariana says it's backed by research. Yep, CLT is backed by research. Yeah, that has not been disproven yet. And it is natural language acquisition. Exactly what you're doing, Mariana, I would say with your kids is exactly CLT. I've observed you with your own children, and that's like, you do it. And then Malud says, we want to create a safe environment for learning. Exactly. It's okay to make mistakes. Yeah. And Malud, you do that beautifully. I've seen that in your classes. Like, you're so encouraging and so positive that, and I would say all of you are actually. And it's okay to make mistakes. And And we want language learning to be real life and grounded in reality. And again, back to my disclosure, I don't know that I always hit all of those marks. Like, I don't know that I always check all those boxes with all of my lessons. So yeah, I'm not perfect either. So just know that it's okay. Okay, one more quick brain break. I wanted to have this align earlier, as you could probably tell, but we are, think of one place, like close your eyes. Think of a place that you've been to, you've traveled to, could be here for those of us in Montana, could be, around like in Thailand. What's one place that you've been that brings you peace, that helps you to relax when you think of it? So just think of that place and breathe. If you would like to share that place in the chat, you're more than welcome to. For me, it's a place, a beach in Mexico that I've been to. So I'm trying to do a lot of calming things because this topic is so big and so overwhelming, that, yeah, the more we can calm ourselves when we're learning, trying to hold ourselves to a high standard, the better, that's what I think. So target language is really important in CLT. So why do we need to stay in the target language, and what strategies should we use? So basically, CLT is an approach that encourages lots of target language use in our world language classrooms. This helps students to acquire the language. If we're not speaking it, they are not. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. If we don't say it, if we don't speak, if we don't help them read it, then they are not going to acquire the language. They won't be good writers. They won't be good communicators, in any form. So we need to use the target language. That's a number one guiding principle in communicative language teaching. So again, this helps them to acquire. It provides auditory input and visual input, I would argue too, if we're reading. And it sets the standard in their subconscious mind. So the way we're teaching is aimed at the subconscious mind. We need to remind our students, if they ever feel lost or wondering why there isn't a vocab list or verb conjugations, we need to remind them, we need to educate them that their subconscious mind is so powerful that we don't need that. Our brain is so powerful. They've already acquired one language. They maybe two other ones, maybe three, who knows, but their brain has done the work. And I just listened to a podcast from Dr. Bill Van Patten. I love this. He did a whole podcast on, are some languages harder than others? No, that's the takeaway. No, we might perceive Russian to be harder as English speakers or Spanish speakers or speakers of Arabic and French or whatever. But we need to start dispelling those myths, because a little child who grew up in Russia speaks it brilliantly. And that's what we want to aim for. We want to aim for, again, what I've seen Mariana do with her own children, like what all of you have done in your classes. I've seen you all. So basically you want to model that. You want to just talk to them about things that are interesting to them, and they will get it. Their brains are that powerful, and it is rigorous. What we're asking their brains to do is higher level tasks, basically, whether they want to believe it or not. So we have to, in my opinion, we need to do more education as an organization as to why this is so important. Using the target language, using the approach of communicative language teaching, we need to normalize the fact that is the way our brain learns a language. A child that grew up in China does not sit there and go, my brain hurts, I'm learning Chinese, like I'm learning Mandarin. No, they don't, they just acquire it because it's all around them. So Yes, we may perceive things to be harder, but like if a child can do it, so can we, right? So we cannot teach the language, even if we try to teach the language, like with grammar, with accent marks, with correct spelling and punctuation and vocab lists and all the verb conjugations. We can only provide input and guide their shared use. So something on Twitter that came up is a few years ago was this quote that like, if we can't teach the language, what should we have language teachers? I would say, yes, we are coaches, right? We're supporting their experience in leveling up, right? But we can't teach it in the traditional sense that, you know, a lot of us grew up on. Like my language teachers, a lot of them were from Argentina. They spoke really fast. They didn't check to see if I understood. They demanded that I respond in Spanish, and they were scary, and they wanted my grammar to be perfect every time. And it was overwhelming and kind of scary at times. So anyway, we can't teach the language. It's not going to get us there any faster. It actually slows our brains down when we try to communicate. Because if you're hyper aware of all the mistakes you're making because of grammar study, because, you know, we're already self-conscious to begin with in a world language. Adding those other pieces in, even though we think it'll get us farther, it actually slows our brain down because our brain is ultra aware of all the mistakes it's going to make. It's aware of all the pitfalls, and it doesn't know how to navigate. So we need to let that go. We need to help our students let that fear go and create a safe place. Any questions about any of this so far? So these are some of my top tips. Up here, this is a link to a slideshow that I've done for World Language Initiative before. It has lots of resources in it as well. You want to speak slow and speak slower. Like even when I think I'm going really slow and I'm speaking really clearly, I should probably go a little slower. They won't be able to reproduce it if I speak too fast. And I am guilty 100% of getting excited and running away with the topic because I'm excited about it. So I have to remind myself to go slow and slower and speak clearly and check their comprehension often. I'm constantly checking their comprehension. I ask them to repeat things back to me. I ask them to translate in the chat. I ask them to repeat it back or whatever they can, or stop me if they don't understand. Use cognates. You know, use words that sound similar. You know, when Maulud teaches Arabic, I'm sure that he can find lots of cognates between Spanish and Arabic, and maybe not as many between English and Arabic. I don't know, but he can use cognates. German is you're really lucky in German. There's tons of cognates, right? In Spanish, we're lucky. There are tons of cognates, but we want to use them as much as possible. Sometimes people need to hear them really clearly and slowly to know that it's a cognate, but they really support language learners. Use lots of visuals. Write often, add English when needed. In our cases, I should say, you know, if you're teaching in Japan and L1 would be Japanese, you know, you're going to want to go to Japanese, right? To get them to understand the messages you're conveying. Be expressive. Use your facial expressions. Be dramatic if you can. You don't need to be as like, you know, highly dramatic as I am, but being expressive really helps. It helps to convey that it's okay. Being expressive helps to convey, you know, a shock if something is shocking, you know. Emotions convey so much. Limit your vocabulary and repeat it so they can get it. Check their comprehension often. I can't stress that one enough, really. I check over 100 times a class, like if they get me, if they know what I'm saying. And avoid correcting, encourage them positively as they start to try to speak. So these things really help me stay on the target language. Comprehensible input, we're going to talk about that more. and synonym stacking. But I wanted to know, what are some of your best tips? So you can unmute or share in the chat. What are some of your best tips to help you stay in the target language? It's hard, but we got this. We can do it.
Well, I would say that choosing the topic that we're going to deal with in class is really important because it has to be relevant to students. So I try to include topics that I know that they already know in their first language. Maybe something that they do daily or that they use. For instance, we used, I think it was Google Maps.
Yeah.
So that class was wonderful, I think, because we forgot about, you know, the structures and the vocabulary, but we focused on what we wanted to do. Now that we are talking about this theory, I realize why it was so successful. I wanted to show my students some places here in Argentina, and I got them to show me some cities in the US. And I think it was wonderful that they forgot about what we were doing, but they were using the language. They were giving me directions in Spanish. So that, I think, choosing topics and relying on technology that is used by students on a daily basis is really a good tool.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Good work.
Thanks.
All right, in the chat, it says, Christina says, just a little trick. I asked them to be my translators, which gives them a job and they like to, it keeps them engaged. So you can stay in the target language longer. That's brilliant. That's perfect. Yeah, because then kids are drawn in, or even adults. They, you know, if you know, in my first class, usually I can tell which kids are gonna like be my translators. Yeah, giving them a job gives them a sense of purpose and desire to support others, right? And it helps you stay in the target language. That is so smart. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Go ahead, Malud.
Yeah, I do create some routines. For example, at the beginning of the class, I do like check-in absence, and I use Arabic, and like now they know how to say I am here and this person is not here. And also, like, for example, I play some games with them. For example, last time we played a game that is called Bring Me the Color, literally in Arabic, and we learned the names of colors, and then I asked them to bring something with that color, and then I call for Teller to mention the color he wants or she wants, and then others bring it.
Nice.
And also sometimes we work on projects. For example, now I forgot the name of the school we're working together. This is Bozeman Online Charter School.
Oh yeah.
Yes, so we are working on a project, and the same thing we will be doing with the high school students. In this project, students will learn how to introduce themselves, and as you said before, we just like scaffold and we equip the students with very simple expressions, very simple words, and each time we add, and at the end they come up with like 1 minute video or something where they speak about a certain thing. I'm working with them on how to present themselves in Arabic. And if you don't mind, I can share with you a very quick video right now.
Oh yeah. Let me stop sharing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Okay, go for it. Let me see if you have permission. Okay, you should be able to share now.
Okay. There we go. So, okay, video where Okay, so the student here, so we try to learn for example, in this example. So they try to learn emotions and how they feel. And we work on this like for a few minutes. And each time at the beginning, I ask them, how do you feel today? And they answer. And one more thing, I'm trying to find the video. Just for a second, please. Sorry for that.
No problem.
Yes. Oh, it's here. Oh, here we go. So this is a new share. Oh, not yet. Yeah. Okay. So in this video, okay, let me show you what happens like at the beginning when I call for their names and they try to say in Arabic whether they are here or they are not here, or this person is here or not here. William, Aberdeen, oh, Jericho, oh, لا مرحبا إلسي.
مرحبا.
ممتاز ممتاز إلسي. جيكو السلام عليكم.
مرحبا. أنا هنا.
ممتاز. لوكا السلام عليكم.
ليس هنا.
So she said he's not here. She was here like just. Okay, this is at the beginning when I check the absence, and then let me share with you like. Okay, and now I try to ask them, how do you feel today? Okay. Elsie, كيف حالك يا اليوم؟
أنا بخير وفرحان.
ممتاز Elsie. So she's doing good and she's happy.
أنا فرحان وتعبان وبيهار.
ممتاز جدا. وأنت تومي كيف حالك؟
أنا فرحان وبيهار وتعبان.
Oh, so he's a bit tired. Okay, so we have worked on, in this class, we worked on several things. Let me show you the outcome at the end of the class. So at the end of the class, where they start performing. Okay, let's see the performance. So in this, they will introduce their name, the age, and who they live with, and what color they like. Okay. Okay, let me show you from the beginning. Natalia, ممتاز. Yeah. Now, if you want to do the same thing, okay. Click for destination. Keep in mind. Okay. Well, as well. Natalia, ممتاز. Yeah. Okay, who wants to try?
I'll do it.
Okay, let's go with Adeline. She wants to try. Okay, so Adeline, I'm going to make this video, okay? ثلاثة اثنان واحد. مرحبا Adeline.
مرحبا. أنا اسمي أدلين. What is the name? Who ask my
So she tries to speak about to introduce herself. So she, yes. Okay, Jericho. Okay, Jericho is doing great. Jericho does great.
Okay, I'm going to count now. ثلاثة اثنان واحد مرحبا
مرحبا أنا اسمي جيريكو وعمري 8 أنا أحب قربان أرنب أسكن مع أبي أمي أخي وجهي أحب أزرق.
Oh, ممتاز Jericho. ممتاز. That was like wonderful.
Okay, so every time we add one thing or two things, like it starts with introducing the name, and then we work on numbers so that they can mention their age, like from 1 to 10. And after that, we worked on some animals, the animals they like. Oh, and also we worked on the family members who they live with. And here we worked on the animals. Each one has picked up 2 animals they like or 3 animals they like. After that, we worked on colors. I don't know where it is. Yeah, after that, we worked on colors. And then we started the conversation. After 1 or 2 tries, so each one made his performance, and I recorded them. And some of them, they did like a great job. What I want to mention, like sometimes you need to put them into like a real life situation. Like at the beginning, you ask who's here and who's not here, and you heard them. They say, for example, Luca, she was absent, and Elsie, she said, Luca is absent today, and that was in Arabic. Because each class we start with this, and now they are acquainted with these expressions. So this is like an example I wanted to share with you.
This is great. Thank you so much. This is perfect.
Thank you so much.
I love it. Will you, is that on our YouTube channel, that video?
It's not, but I will upload it.
Yeah, I mean, you already have so many good videos up there, but it would be cool to add more. I think it would be awesome. I really want us to like keep sharing because you've got so many successes. I know Christina does too, and I know Val does too. And the more we can share and help each other with this is great. I love it.
Yeah. So the projects I am working on with adult students, or let's say high school students now, it includes the same thing. We try to work on, let me just try to find the file I have. So we are working, oh, it's here, yes. Okay, this is the Arabic club, and this is from last year, okay? So this is Jenny. Do you see my screen?
No, it's the same video, yeah.
Share. Okay, here is the new share. Okay, it's here. Yes. So this is from last year, and we had like a great experience. I had a great experience with Jacqueline and Jenny, and I try to do the same thing this year. So we're working on projects. The video projects, it's called like 1 minute project. Oh, this is the project. So it's called make 1 minute video where you introduce or you speak about yourself in Arabic.
Nice.
And I showed them this example from last year. I will share it with you. So what we do, students have to go through these steps to start by greeting in Arabic, and then they state the name, the city, the house, the type of house they live in, which country, who the persons they live with, what they do, their favorite foods, favorite hobbies, favorite animals, maybe they like, they don't like, the sports they like, and so on. Or means of transportation they like to travel with. And in each class, we work on two or three things. So usually on 2 things, like, okay, but we scaffold, like So at the end, I would love to share with you what happened at the end. Okay, and this is like after around I don't remember. It was like around 10 classes, something like this. Okay, so let me share with you the performance of Jenny. Unfortunately, I don't have English subtitles, but this is what they are going to go through with their vision and also the order of things they want to speak about. It depends on their choices. Okay, so I'm going to go directly to minutes. Okay. Yes, it is uploading. I'm going to go to okay, there we go.
أحب كرة السلة والجري.
أختي وأخي وذو بنفسي. أنا أدرس الآن.
There we go. This is Jenny's performance.
أنا أسكن في منزل صغير في بوسطن. عمري 14. أسكن مع أمي وأبي وأختي وأخي وذو بنفسي. أنا أدرس العربية. أنا أفضل فواكه وخبز ولكن ليس دجاج مخفي. هواياتي هي كتابة وكتابة. أحب أرنب وحمامة ولكن ليس خنزير. أحب رياضة جري وكرة القدم ولكن ليس كرة القدم. أفضل السفارة بدراجة وقطار ولكن ليس سيارة.
ممتاز جيد.
Okay, so this is Jenny's performance, and this is like we start like each class we work on 2 or 3 expressions. Next class we add, like for example today about animals, next day about means of transportation, the other play about places you like to go to, the other class about. So anyway, each class we work on 1 or 2 things, and at the end, from the beginning they knew that they are going to work on this project. So they took notes and they practiced it. And at the end, it was this performance, which was like amazing. Also, Jenny, she's like an amazing student.
This is so beautiful. Did I tell you my son is friends with Ginny?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
So
such a
they're
cool
both,
human.
yes, he should join the Arabic club.
I've been trying to get him to, but he's He's
So
in Spanish, so that's good. So
they have pizza at the beginning of the class.
he should go. He should go. Yeah, his friend Nolan, you taught Nolan too.
Oh, Nolan, yes. No,
And
he's funny.
He is funny. And you've also
Yes.
taught who's the other student? Emerson. That's
Emerson, yes.
Yeah. That's so cool.
So we have around 13 students in this club.
Oh,
Yes.
Jericho was in your son's kindergarten class. Oh, that's so cool. Malud has touched so many lives in Bozeman.
Who is Jericho your son? You know him.
He was in my son's kindergarten class online.
Jericho is amazing, and he picks up like Arabic words very quickly.
Oh yeah, he was not at kindergarten level reading. I mean, the other kids are learning ABC and he was reading full paragraphs.
Yeah, that is right.
He's a very bright kid.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Well,
I just wanted to share with you this experience.
well, this is a big success. Thank you for sharing. And
Thank you so
whatever,
much.
if you feel like sending links to me, I can send it out to everybody, or if you want to upload them and I can alert people that they're on the YouTube channel, whatever you feel safe doing. The more we can share like our successes, the better, all of us, really.
That's
So,
great.
yeah. I'm gonna give you all a 5-minute break, and then when we come back, we're going to dive into comprehensible input and some more things about getting students to talk in the target language. So let's take a 5-minute break. And then, yeah, and if you have come back with some ideas, if you have more ways that you get your students to talk, Malou just showed us a bunch of really great examples. But if you have any other ideas, let me know and we'll proceed from there. I will see you all back here in like 5 minutes.